All right, and we're continuing with our period 4 orange-purple class, purple-orange. I told you guys the second part of class is going to be about evaluation, which we've already done. We did this last week, but we only evaluated expressions. All right, so we didn't actually have any equal signs. But up here, we're going to talk about function notation and how to evaluate using a function. Okay, so a function is written always in function notation, and the most common one you're going to see is f of x. That's the most common one. All right, and make sure you understand that that means the value for function f at your input of x. All right, I know most of you are pretty confident with your mathematical abilities, especially about functions, so I'm not that worried about this class thinking f times x. All right, so make sure you understand that's f of x. It means that you have an input value. You're going to input it into the function, in this case, f. All right, so it shows you how to actually do that. And on the right-hand side here of the equation, you'll notice we've already done this. The left-hand side, this function notation, is the new stuff, all right, that we haven't talked about in this class. All right, and I always just think it makes it more formal. All right, so let's do one. F of x is 5x plus 3. Evaluate for f of 0. So I'm going to have 5 times 0 plus 3. It says it also wants me to evaluate for 1/5. So 5 times 1/5 plus 3. And finally for -2. 5 times -2 plus 3. So the key thing I'm looking for the rest of this lesson is that you're using that function notation. Okay, so let's do these real quick. 0 times 5 plus 3 is 3. 1/5 times 5 plus 3 is 4. Remember, 5 and 1/5 are reciprocals, and from your properties that you learned about in, let's see, last Wednesday, I believe, or Thursday, we know that's going to be 1. And then 5 times -2 plus 3 is -7. And that's it. Okay? Now, I want to make sure you understand that if you want to make sure you get full credit here, when you put the answer, put f of 0 is 3. That would be what I would consider the full answer. All right? What we did last week was I just cared about the number. Now I care about the function notation and the number. So just make sure you understand that difference. Okay, let's do the next one. F of x is 7 minus 2x. So if f of 0 is 7 minus 2 times 0, f of 1/5 again, 7 minus 2 times 1/5, and f of -2 is 7 minus 2 times -2. So after you input substitute your inputs, let's get the answers here. 7 minus 2 times 0 is going to be 7. 7 minus 2 times 1/5. Ooh. So that's 7 minus 2/5. What is 7 minus 2/5? Oh, come on, guys. We can do this. 6.6. It is 6.6. Your brain probably did 6 3/5. Right? If you were to add those together, 6 3/5 plus 2/5 is 7. And you could also write 6.6. Both are acceptable. 7 minus 2 times -2. It is 11. That becomes 7 plus 4, which is 11. So again, if you wanted to make sure you did this right, that last one would be f of -2 equals 11. The whole thing for full credit there. Any questions on function notation? Now, this is when they're giving you the function written out. Okay? Our last examples before we move back to our boards are what if they gave you the graphical version of the function. So they didn't give you actually the function rule, but they gave you what the function looks like on the graph. So what the function? This one right here. So here in green is the function. And it says evaluate for f of 0, f of 1/2, and f of -2. Now this is beginning the process of something you're going to have to do in pre-calculus next year, where you're going to have to describe many characteristics of a function. This is one of the basic things to understand in order to do that next year. All right, so pay attention because this is going to come back at the end of my year and then when you get to pre-calc. Okay? So 0 is my x. Go to x is 0. Where is the function when x is 0? Where is the function? It's at 4, right? The order pair would be 0, 4, but it's only asking for the y value, so you write equals 4, and that's done. That's it. Now again, I told you this is like the beginning of describing many things about the function. Well, this is like the very beginning, right? Here's how you put your hands on the handlebar. Okay? The next one. Ooh, 1/2 is the x. It's a little tricky here because we have 2 and 0. So it's not right in between because that would be 1. So really 1/2 is probably around here. So where is the function when x is 1/2? I think as well it's at 3.5. Yeah, I think it's right there at 3.5. And finally, where is the function when x is -2? It's at +2. Now, if you haven't figured it out, I'm basically just asking for the y value. That's all we're asking for with this function notation. Any questions on doing it where they give you the function rule or when they give you it as a graph? Because you're going to have to do both. No questions on this? Okay, let's see what you're about to do. Okay, you're going to do all of these, which is not graphically, but the exit ticket you're going to do today does have a graphical one, just to let you know. 1 through 8 should be pretty straightforward. I can't wait to see what you do with 9 and 10. All right, you got 10 minutes. Stand up and go!